On social media, a video has gone viral that purports to show a Russian military helicopter narrowly avoiding a missile fired by the rebel Wagner mercenary group. Wagner troops who support Yevgeny Prigozhin, the group's leader, say they have taken Rostov-on-Don, a city in southern Russia. According to reports, they are traveling north in a heavily armed convoy and are hours from Moscow. President Vladimir Putin said in an address to the people of Russia that Prigozhin's actions were treason and a knife in the back of our people. As Kyiv launches a counterattack, the insurrection could severely weaken Russian forces in Ukraine, destabilize domestic Russian politics, and even raise doubts about the Putin regime's ability to survive. A remarkable video that was shared on Twitter appears to show a Russian helicopter that has been identified as a Kyiv-52 Alligator narrowly avoiding a missile that was fired by Wagner fighters after flares were launched to distract it. The 12-second video, shot from a high vantage point, shows the helicopter releasing flares while flying over a road junction. A missile can be seen firing very close to the helicopter after about 10 seconds. The Wagner mercenary group has entered the region, according to the governor of Russia's Lipetsk province on Saturday. The region of Lipetsk is about 360 kilometers, 225 miles, south of Moscow, which is a significant distance from the capital than Rostov-on-Don, where Wagner forces made their nighttime appearance. The authorities are taking all necessary steps to ensure the population's safety. The circumstance is taken care of, Gov Igor Artemonov said on Wire. He didn't give insights regarding the Wagner presence. On Friday, the owner of the Wagner Group, a private mercenary army, called for an armed rebellion to remove Russia's defense minister, making his most direct challenge to the Kremlin yet. Yevgeny Prigozhin, the group's leader, was the immediate target of the security forces' immediate call for his arrest. In an indication of how truly the Kremlin was taking the danger, security was uplifted in Moscow and in Rostov-on-Don, which is home to the Russian military central command for the southern district and furthermore manages the battling in Ukraine. As Kyiv's forces probed Russian defenses in the early stages of a counteroffensive, it appeared likely that the confrontation would further impede Moscow's war effort, despite the fact that the confrontation's outcome was still unknown. Early on Saturday, Prigozhin claimed that his troops had reached Rostov after crossing into Russia from Ukraine. He said that his troops aren't fighting against children and faced no resistance from young conscripts at checkpoints. But we will destroy anyone who stands in our way, he said in one of a number of irate videos and audio recordings that began to be shared on social media late on Friday. We are proceeding and will continue until the very end. He guaranteed that the head of the General Staff, Gen. Valery Gerasimov, mixed warplanes to strike Wagner's caravans, which were driving close by standard vehicles. In addition, Prigozhin claimed that his forces shot down a Russian military helicopter that had fired on a civilian convoy. However, no independent verification was available. Overnight, the Kremlin tightened security at important facilities all over the country. Putin has issued anti-terror measures in several regions and granted law enforcement broad legal powers since Moscow woke up to a state of emergency. In addition, despite Prigozhin's assertions that Wagner convoys had entered Rostov-on-Don, social media in Russia had not yet provided any evidence to support this claim. Recordings showed weighty trucks obstructing expressways, prompting the city. Long escorts of public gatekeeper trucks were seen on a street outside Rostov-on-Don, and shielded vehicles were wandering the roads. According to Prigozhin, Gerasimov ordered the firing of rockets, helicopter gunships, and artillery on Wagner field camps in Ukraine following a meeting with Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, in which they decided to eliminate Wagner. Friday, Prigozhin called for an armed uprising against Shoigu. Prigozhin was the subject of an immediate criminal investigation by the security services. In a series of irate videos and audio recordings, Prigozhin claimed that Shoigu had ordered a rocket strike on Wagner's field camps in Ukraine, where his Russian troops are fighting, on Friday. Prigozhin urged the army not to resist and stated that his troops would now punish Shoigu through an armed rebellion. According to TASS, A later statement made by Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov stated that Russia's prosecutor general, Igor Krasnov, had discussed the possibility of bringing a criminal case against Prigozhin with Putin. Wagner's powers play had a critical impact in Russia's conflict in Ukraine, prevailing with regards to taking the city where the bloodiest and longest fights have occurred, Bakhmut. Prigozhin has frequently criticized Russia's military leadership, claiming that it has deprived his troops of weapons and ammunition and is incompetent. However, his claims and calls for an armed rebellion on Friday presented a more direct challenge. Prigozhin, whose dispute with the Russian Defense Ministry dates back many years, refused to comply with the Defense Ministry's requirement that all military contractors sign contracts with it prior to July 1. He said in a statement late on Friday that he was willing to work with the Defense Ministry to reach an agreement, but they have treacherously cheated us. According to Prigozhin, Shoigu personally went to the Russian military headquarters in the city of Rostov-on-Don in the south to direct the attack on Wagner, and then cowardly fled. Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, urged other nations to heed warnings that Russia may be planning to attack an occupied nuclear power plant to cause a radiation disaster and other developments in the Ukraine war. International representatives were briefed by members of his government regarding the potential threat to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which has had its 6 reactors shut down for months. According to Zelensky, he anticipated that other nations would give appropriate signals and exert pressure on Moscow. The spokesperson for the Kremlin has denied that Russian forces pose a threat to the plant. Since Russian troops invaded Ukraine last year and seized the plant, Europe's largest nuclear power station, there has been concern about the possibility of a radiation release that could harm people's lives. The head of the United Nations Agency for Atomic Energy tried unsuccessfully for months to negotiate the creation of a safety perimeter to protect the facility from repeated shelling in nearby areas. During a Ukrainian counteroffensive that began this month in Zaporizhzhia province, where the namesake plant is located, and in a part of Donetsk province that is adjacent, the International Atomic Energy Agency stated on Thursday that the military situation has become increasingly tense,